What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. We're joined by Chargers running back and fan favorite, elite fantasy football player, elite fantasy football analyst, Austin Ekeler. How we doing, man?
I'm doing well. I got to run you back on that one. The analyst part, not so much. I'm just an advocate of fantasy football. I think it's crucial to our sport for us to continue to have people bought in.
Okay, analyst is too far. I'm sorry, but
way too far. Way too far.
Advocate is
yes, advocate. There you go.
Well, I mean, I think it's so we were like briefly talking about podcasts before, and I'll sort of dovetail this in with, because like you joined Matt Harmon, who I love, on the Yahoo podcast to talk about fantasy football, and like I think it is interesting. You were one of the first dudes, especially like guys who are notable in name, notable in production, to get out and like be active in advocating for. I know we have to be careful with the wording here, so I'm trying to for advocating for fantasy football. Fortunately, now the NFL has relaxed like to a degree where they encourage all this stuff. But like, did you ever find that you would get like pushback from dudes in the locker room or elsewhere, like where they're like, because a lot of guys don't like fantasy football and that's their prerogative. I'm just curious how you sort of like got out in front of that movement.
I mean, if someone I would want to have someone challenge me for pushback of me getting involved in fantasy football. I feel like the ads that it's brought to my life as far as opportunity, not only monetarily, but, network wise, and opportunities just going forward in the future and helping me grow as a person are so immense that it's really hard to argue why anyone would not try to get into it, from my standpoint, from where I'm standing, from my perspective, because fantasy football has such a reach that's so much greater than any fan base. I don't care if it's the biggest fan base, with whoever that might be, the Eagles or, Green Bay or who knows, one of these, just
America's team, the Detroit Lions.
What's that?
I said America's team, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I don't know about them, but yeah, it doesn't matter. All of them, right? Like none of them are as big as the fantasy football and the sports betting world. And so that's where I've seen a shift in my direction as far as getting involved with community is, okay, look, I can do stuff with the Chargers, but I can reach, 100 times more people if I start tapping into this fantasy and sports betting world. And so that's where I've been putting a lot of my efforts on during my podcast and stuff.
Well, and it does seem like you've got like the returns, like you said, are all, I mean, it's all positive, just the way that you found the interaction with fans and sort of, because I get why people, like if you were getting like MF'd about costing somebody a fantasy game on a Sunday night on your Twitter account and your Twitter mentions, like I get why you'd be like, dude, I don't care. Like that's not what and it's not what's important to like you. I mean, like you want to win the game first and foremost. Like but it is something that you can create a connection with in terms of talking to fans, especially in the social media age and podcast age where people are listening to your content. I mean, 10 years ago, Brady Quinn and I talk about the fact that when he was a rookie and even when he playing with the Browns, there was no mouthpiece for NFL players. Like you had to like leak stuff out through your agent. You couldn't provide the message and kind of control the message. Right.
Right. And so, I mean, you do have to be careful, when you're in the media. And I've probably crossed the line a couple times here and there. But for the most part, you get trained as far as, you start to understand what you're good at talking about, what you're not, and where you want to stay away from and kind of how to articulate a message so that you can speak about it, but not give away any critical information that your team or your teammates may, need you to stay private. But it's also a very strong tool for us as players to show other sides of us and talk about the game the way that we see it, the same time, right? I'm able to make connections with other people by showing them a different side of me through podcasts, through talking about things I'm interested in, that hopefully creates another bridge as far as like, oh yeah, I love that Austin has this app. I love that Austin has, real estate, he's into his foundation. Like I want to make some other tie to other people. Maybe you're into my motivation so that when I'm done playing, I want that tie to stay there, right? Football is going to end for me at some point. So what can I build out of my football career that'll be sustainable value within my community?
Well, that's an awesome message. It was an inspiring message. I mean, it's interesting too, because you can do it in Los Angeles, right? Where it is certainly, you talk about the big markets now. the Chargers and the Rams are newer there. They might not have the biggest markets, but they are in a huge market, particularly if you are growing a brand and trying to extend beyond just the the parameters of the football field, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said, we're the new kids on the block in a crowded neighborhood, right? So we're not going to get unconditional love like maybe the Raiders got when they moved to Las Vegas, right? And there's no one else there, and it's just really the Strip and them. And then the Knights over there as well. But it's like for us,
the Golden Knights, not the
yeah,
evenings
the Golden
Vegas.
Knights. My bad, the Golden Knights, not the LA. Yeah. Those are the Kings. I don't know. Yeah. Is there a hockey team called the Knights?
I mean, the Golden Knights. No,
Knights.
I thought you were referring to Knights in Las Vegas that they have to compete with, which is a fair competition too.
Oh, the
right?
Golden Knights. Yeah. Well, and that too, and that.
Yeah. Shifting away. Oh no, actually, wait. I have one more follow up on the media stuff in Los Angeles because I saw you on Men in Blazers, which I mean, wow, like I'm sure appearing on this podcast is basically the same as Men in Blazers. I mean, just as huge in terms of coverage. I mean, those guys are ridiculous. But you said that Paramount. I mean, I'm a Paramount employee. And you said Paramount offered you a helicopter. Paramount Plus offered you a helicopter.
They did not just offer; they got me. Yeah,
Paramount.
Yeah, they got me a helicopter and flew me across LA for a shoot that they needed someone for immediately, and that was kind of like my welcome to LA, where entertainment is king out here.
All right, who throws a better swing pass, Phillip Rivers or Justin Herbert?
Who throws a better swing pass? Interesting.
Bear in mind that I have a bunch of NC State stuff behind me, so it's kind of a loaded question.
Justin's grown on me, but I would say Phillip throws a better swing pass.
That's why I specifically said swing pass, because that's like always his sort of like, that's like his signature pass. And that's why you and he were a perfect combination. You had a great game on Sunday night. It was really interesting to me to see what that offense looked like with Big Mike and Keenan and you all healthy. Do you guys feel like you've been battling everybody's been sort of battling attrition with the injuries. You've had some bad luck in some spots, but it kind of feels like I wonder, is the energy around the Chargers that of, hey, we're in position to go do something. We're finally healthy on offense. Obviously Slater's gone too, but I mean, you're like it's kind of the right time with where you guys sit with your record now that you're 7-6, right there on the cusp of the playoffs.
Yeah. If we're going to have a time to peak, it's now, playing football in December. It's definitely the time you're wanting to peak, whether it's getting guys back or whether you're finding a rhythm in your offense or defense. And for us right now, this part of the season, for us, it's been a grind in what seems like every game. Even our last game, against the Dolphins, it came down to an onside kick that we had to secure to win the game. So all of our games have kind of been like the entire 60 minutes matters. We haven't really had like a staple game where we like put someone away. We're up 2 scores. There's a couple minutes left kind of thing. So we're still searching for that. And we saw some more consistency as far as the playmaking ability, like you said, with Mike and Keenan being back in their rotation. And that absolutely helps our offense, be able to have a higher ceiling as far as our capabilities. And so having that available is definitely going to help us be in a position to make this playoff run.
Do you know what the heck a social media quarterback is?
I have no idea what that is.
I don't know. It's sort of like, it sort of feels ironic in a sense, in like by drumming up attention for a guy who is just kind of humble and underneath the radar, you're actually being the social media quarterback yourself. I'm not going to name any names. I'm just saying.
I mean, I heard some comments about social, like I don't know what that means. I don't know what the definition of that is. So look, I give no attention to it. I don't know.
That sounds,
I got no
that
time
sounds,
for that.
That sounds like a good idea. Fan control football.
Yeah.
You're working with them. Again, you're expanding the brand. Talk to us about fan control football. What you dig about it. I mean, like I do feel like by the way, also your management of your time is pretty impeccable, by the way.
It has to have gotten much better over the past few years. And just how I even got involved with fan control football is because of me trying to engage with community and seeing value in football in other ways than just playing, right? There's the obvious value add of playing in the NFL, which is playing the games, getting paid. But then there's the part that you don't necessarily get the value back out right away, which is engaging with the community, building up a brand so that you can have more options for yourself. That leads me to Fan Control Football, which I started building my off-field brand, kind of telling people what I'm about, my journey, connecting. This new startup football league comes to me 2 years ago, and they're like, hey, we have this crazy concept where the fans are going to call the plays on Twitch. It's going to be live. It's going to be 7-on-7 full contact football. And we just want communities to come and support us. And there was like all of my things that I'm checking off: community, football, live streaming engagement. And I was like, yes, let's do it. So yeah, we're coming into our 3rd year. We won the championship the first year. We busted in the playoffs last year. And so we're looking to come back for the 3rd year. We are the Should Have Been Stars right now. We're trying to change our team name. But right now we're the Should Have Been Stars. Yeah.
Twitch.tv/FCF is where you can watch it. Also broadcast partners with NBC, LX, Peacock, and is it Dazen? I always get scared. I mispronounce it.
Oh yeah. It's
DAZN. How about that?
DAZN. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. What's been your favorite moment of Fan Control Football so far?
Favorite moment of Fan Control Football is absolutely the championship that we won. We were getting our ass kicked the entire game, and we come back, and to win the game on the last play of the game is basically how we won the game. And we were champions on the last play of the game. So it's pretty. Do you remember
what the play call was?
I think we were down in the red zone, and I think our quarterback ended up running the ball in. Who was our quarterback? Was it like a call, it wasn't like a call draw? Was it like a busted play? No, it was a scramble. Yeah, busted play, scramble, quarterback.
So the fan who called the play is fired, obviously, from the OC.
It happens. Hey, there's a lot of people that don't know much about football trying to call plays. So there's a lot of plays that are like, I probably shouldn't have called that.
You know what? I mean, I think it's pretty calling plays if you know a lot about football is hard.
Yeah, exactly. That's why NFL teams will pay a lot of money to find one of those people that can do that.
Yeah, 100%. We'll get you out of here on this. What is your ideal, like, sort of streaming, like when you picture the future of like fantasy and streaming, what's something that you think is gonna pop that hasn't come out, that hasn't like really emerged quite yet?
Ooh, maybe like
that's a very like nebulous question. Sorry, I don't know why it just came to me like that.
No, just some like next level, like what's the next step in fantasy sports kind of question.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like, for instance, I think best ball, like, I don't know if you've worked with Underdog at all, or like DraftKings does some of it too, but it's, you basically do a whole draft and then you don't touch your lineup there's no waivers, there's no nothing, and they take the best score each week, and it's like, and then after 14 weeks, they're like, here's who goes to the playoffs and here's who doesn't. And so, like, to me, that's kind of interesting because it like, for those of us who do a lot of fantasy, the waiver wire on Tuesday suddenly becomes like a total nightmare where you don't want Tuesdays to go around.
Right. Which I think that makes it really competitive, because it makes you actually kind of be a manager, right? You actually have to put some time into your team. You can't just, I don't know if I like I just set it up and then that's it. Cause then it doesn't give you incentive to come back, and you have to 100%. Change your lineup. You have to change people on bye weeks. Like, I love the come back and bring you back in factor. Right. And then that's how you learn about new people. It's like, shoot, someone's out this week on a bye or injury, so now I need to pick someone up. Okay, now I got this backup receiver over with the Jets. Now you're watching the Jets game, so.
Or you grab like Zonovan Knight off the waiver wire.
Exactly, and you're like, who's this guy? Now he's been, playing well these past couple games.
Sorry. I was going to ask something. Do you think that, like, does your knowledge of following fantasy and being that involved in it, do you think it like helps your preparation maybe more so than people give that credit for?
No. even as a player, like, I still don't know. I don't know as much. I know the same amount that everyone else knows as far as like injury reports on other teams, like, what's going on with someone who's limited, someone's doubtful in the week. Like, look, teams purposely, right, keep that information like within, right? Because they want to protect themselves, they want to protect the game plan, they want to protect that player. So I have no idea. I have no leg up. The only leg up I guess you could say I have is for my own team.
Right. But and even then you draft yourself number 1 overall, so it doesn't matter.
If I can, yes.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I'm not that high in the draft, and so someone else will take me. Unfortunately,
You are unfortunately for you a rather popular fantasy football player, which makes it.
It's a blessing and a curse because now I can't have myself on my own team, most of the time.
Hey, but you can have yourself on your own team. That's the blessing. See, I can't draft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate the time. It's a lot of fun chatting. You're one of my favorite players to watch it, not only on the field, but off the field because of all the work you do. Make sure to check out Fan Control Football, twitch.tv/FCF. Follow Austin Ekeler on all his platforms. And good luck, man. I hope we see you in the playoffs. You guys are an exciting offense and an exciting defense if, Bosa and Derwin can get back out there too.
For sure.
Appreciate it, Austin. Thanks, man.
Yep. Thanks, Will. Appreciate you, man.